cone capture.
Yeah, we are in the place of
So as you know, I'm always bringing you accessible, modifiable, and engaging content for at home, in the gym, and in the classroom. The game we're featuring today is one of my most versatile games yet. It's called Cone Capture, and it works for a variety of sport skills, different units, and different themes. So it's a great one to have in your repertoire. Cone Capture is an invasion type game where teams are trying to steal objects from one another and return them to their own safe zone. It can be played as a simple tag game, or it can be played with manipulative objects as well, like soccer balls and basketballs, which we'll see in the video to come. Your basic setup for Cone Capture is as follows. You can see that I have divided my playing surface into 4 quarters. Now for the purposes of my video, I've condensed the playing field quite a bit. You could play it in the full gym, out on the field, whatever space you have available to you. And depending on the size of your group, your space is going to need to be bigger or smaller, of course. In a full gym, this could easily be played with a single class. If you're out on the field, you could easily have 2 classes playing this game, if not 3 at the same time. Now, once you have your playing field split into quarters, in each quarter you are going to place a large pylon. You're also going to notice that there's a bucket in each quarter of the playing field, and that's for students to collect their captured cones. And finally, you're going to notice that on top of each pylon, there is a stack of saucer cones, and we're going to make sure that there is an equal number of saucer cones on every pylon. Typically, if I'm playing with one class for a game of about 10 or 15 minutes, I'm going to start with 10 cones on top of my pylon. Alright, so now that you've seen the setup, let's dive into the gameplay. So, let's pretend I was part of the yellow team, and I was starting over in this corner. My team has 2 jobs, as do I. I can either choose to play defense and protect my team's cones, or I can be playing offense, trying to steal other team's cones. Alright, so as an offensive player, my job is quite simple. I can move into any of the quarters of the playing field that are not my own and steal a single cone at a time. Typically what's going to happen is as I move in, I am going to take a cone from the top of the team's pylon. Alright, and I'm going to take one of these and take it back over to my team's bucket and place it in the bucket before I can go and steal another cone. If, by chance, there are no cones left on the blue team's pylon, I have another option. I can then go into their bucket and steal back my own color, but only my own color. Couldn't take pink or purple's cones, couldn't take red's cones, okay? Couldn't take a blue cone out of there, but there shouldn't be one in there anyways. I can only take my own color back. And if I'm able to do that, when I return to my side, I would put my yellow cone that I've stolen back on top of my pylon. Alright? So in that way, I am helping my team keep our pylon stack high and taking away from the blue team at the same time. As I said, when I play, I only allow students to steal from the bucket once the pylon is empty. But as you play the game a few times, you can add in modifications as you see fit, and perhaps you could have them being able to steal their own color from the bucket or from the pylon at any time. Alright, so that's the basics. It sounds pretty simple if all I have to do is run in and steal a cone, right? But depending on how you're playing the game, the defenders are going to be able to stop you in a variety of different ways. So in its simplest form in cone capture, if I'm entering this zone and we're playing without equipment, it's tag style, okay? So when I enter this quarter of the gym, anybody who's on the blue team can tag me. If they tag me, I am not able to steal a cone. I must put my hands on my head, and I must return to my quarter of the playing field prior to going to try and steal another cone. Now, if you're playing with equipment, let's say a basketball or a soccer ball, all players must have a ball, and all players must be dribbling at all times, even the defenders. So as I come in, I must be dribbling my ball with one hand, trying to steal the cone with my other hand while maintaining my dribble, and defenders are able to knock my ball away from me, but they must also be dribbling their ball while they're doing that. So defenders and offensive players are all dribbling. I'm trying to move around and maneuver around to steal a cone, and defenders are trying to maneuver around to knock my ball away from me. If my ball is knocked away from me and I don't have control of my ball, I am unable to steal a cone. I must go get my ball and continue dribbling before I can come try and steal again, or I can maybe go to a different team to try and steal there. The same would apply if we were doing dribbling skills with our feet. I must be dribbling my soccer ball at all times, maintaining control of my ball, and when I get to a pylon to try and steal, I'm going to trap my ball, and I'm going to try and steal a pylon. Again, if my ball is kicked away from me and I don't have control of my ball, I am unable to steal a cone. Alright everybody, so that about does it for cone capture. As I said, this versatile game is a great one to have in your back pocket and add into your repertoire of games and activities for phys ed class or wherever else you might be leading activities. The design of this game helps players work on skills, but also work on gameplay strategy and have a lot of fun while they're doing it. This is a much better way to keep students and players engaged while they're working on skills, as opposed to simply weaving around things like pylons. While there is a place for that, this might be a little bit more fun and a little bit more like a game where they're going to learn some different skills and have some chances to be creative and move their bodies a little bit more. Play it with a basketball, play it with a soccer ball, play it with no equipment, play it with a lacrosse stick, play it with a hockey stick. Try out cone capture and you won't be disappointed. If you enjoyed my video, please remember to hit that subscribe button down there, sign up for notifications to be the first to see my weekly content, like and share away. I always love hearing from you in the comments below as well. But for now, this is Mr. Pratt signing off from Cone Capture. Now it's time for Pratt's Playbook, a unique perspective from Mr. Pratt on modifications, additional gameplay considerations, and more. A few ideas on how to run your game would be as follows. You could play for a set time limit, say 5 minutes, and see which team has the most cones at the end of the game. You could also play until one team is completely out of cones on their pylon, and then the game could stop. You could also play it so that you play until only one team has cones left on their pylon, and they would be the winner. My personal favorite way to keep score in cone capture is to play for a set amount of time, and when the game stops, I have students calculate their points based on the following point structure. Any cone of their own color that is still on the pylon is worth 2 points, and any cone that is in the bucket would be worth 1. So this version prioritizes defensive strategy, and in this case, the blue team would have 3 cones, 6 points here, and whatever cones they had in their bucket would add 1 per cone to that point total. You can then have teams compare scores and find out who your winner was. During your setup, it's also important to be sure that all of your pylons are an equal distance away from each other. Otherwise, 2 teams are just going to keep stealing back and forth from each other if they're the closest to each other. If everybody is an equal distance, you have just as much of a chance of stealing from blue, purple, yellow, or red as any other team. So it really helps keep the game flowing and avoids congestion or just 2 little mini games happening separately, because we want people moving into all 4 quarters of the playing field. Typically, I limit the amount of defenders a team is able to have because it keeps the game flowing. If everybody plays defense in their own quarter, the game isn't very fun. It would be like if everybody in basketball just protected their own hoop. We'd have a lot of 0-0 ties. So, if you have 6 players, I would recommend maybe 2 people playing defense. If you're getting up into the 10s, 15 players per team, just have 3 or 4 people defending and the rest on offense. It'll keep the game fresh, it'll keep the game exciting, and it'll keep things moving along so nobody's standing still for too long. And of course, talking to students beforehand about strategy and sharing responsibilities and roles on team is really important. If I'm playing defense at the start, maybe every 5 minutes me and a teammate are switching, or if I really like playing defense and the rest of my team really likes playing offense, we can sort that out amongst ourselves. But having that conversation before you start playing will really help you avoid conflict and other issues within teams. Just make sure you're not allowing body contact from defenders. That's going to be where this game maybe gets a little bit out of hand. So just like in normal soccer, normal basketball, normal tag, when you're defending, you have to do it safely and within the rules of the game. You can't be hitting people, you can't be knocking them over, you can't be grabbing their body. So establish those rules early to avoid conflict.